So guys, I've been continuing my gold making on Wrath Classic on my 30 days to a token challenge that, well, I did it in a week. But today I'm going to show you my current routine and talk a little bit about how I use Trade Skill Master specifically to just save time and be super efficient, and it's working incredibly well. I'm not going to go into the big numbers, but you can see that, I'm at 21,000 gold right now. I log in once or twice a day. And this is what I do. Obviously, we're relying on Trade Skill Master, the strongest gold making add-on ever created. And in Wrath Classic, the nice thing here is that we can rely on Trade Skill Master to do our stuff for us to a very significant degree, right? To a very significant degree. We have set up operations that pretty much cover everything I need. So that's just perfect. So I can be done with a restocking session. That's going to be 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how many items I need to craft. And that includes log in from my auction house character to my crafter and back, crafting everything I need, buying all the materials and getting it out onto the auction house. Yeah, 5 to 10 minutes. Depends a little, it varies a little bit. Obviously, if you have a really slow computer, it's going to be slower, but yeah. So I do that twice a day, and we're making it 20,000 gold so far in 20 days, or about 14,000 in the last 12 days. So yeah, this is just great. By the way, this video is not sponsored by anyone; it's sponsored by me. And what's the sponsorship? Obviously, if you're not aware, I have a Patreon, and one of the rewards you can get for supporting me on Patreon is my entire TSM setup. Like, you can get all my groups, all my operations, everything I've used, everything I use in Wrath Classic. You can get my retail setup if you're playing retail. This is what I used to get from 100 to 21,000 gold in 21 days, 22 days. So yeah, there's a link in the description, patreon.com/thelazygoldmaker. Hope we'll see you there. The first thing you want to do is you need to fill your professional groups, or you really need to fill your restocking queue, essentially. So I have a crafting operation that you need to set up. That's the absolute first step. I'm just going to swap to this other profile here, where I've made the restocking groups. So this group is all the items I craft 1 of, and this group is all the items I craft 5 of. And they both have a restocking operation. They look exactly the same. The only difference is how many I craft. So for this one, I use for all the gear, I'm crafting 1. I'm crafting a minimum 1 and maximum 1, which means if I don't have any, I'll craft 1. If I have 1 item or more, then I won't craft any. Then I also set the minimum profit. I set this to 10% crafting, which means that the item needs to be selling for at least 10% more than the crafting cost. So that's going to be 110%. And then for the enchants that I craft, I set the minimum to 3 and the maximum to 5, which means I'm going to craft up to 5, but only if I'm going to craft at least 3 at a time, because I don't want to restock these every day. If I still have 4, I don't need to craft 1 more. Once I'm down to 2, then I want to recraft again, essentially. That's what the minimum and maximum essentially means. Minimum restock quantity, that's the minimum it'll add to the queue. So now that you have your operations, we can go to the crafting window. You can open any crafting profession, it doesn't matter. Then you click Restock TSM Groups, and you pick the groups you want. The nice thing about this is that TSM will remember which groups you have selected. So the first time you actually have to pick your groups. The second time you just click Restock, and it'll add them to the crafting queue. And now it will also give me a shopping list on the TSM task list, which if it's closed for whatever reason, you can open it by typing /TSM and then space task list in one word into chat, and it's going to be open. And then you can start shopping for materials. You just go to the browse, you scan all, and it'll search up all of the materials you need. And once you've bought out what you need for one specific material, so if we just let this scan finish, and then we buy the 1 frozen orb that I need, then the frozen orb is going to disappear from this list like poof, and I only have the ones I still need to buy. Now, it does want to do intermediate crafts, some of which don't make sense, like this Berean leather intermediate craft is not profitable. And if something is really weird, then you can change the behavior here. You can turn it to not do crafts, for instance, if you want to. I like to keep them because there are a lot of intermediate crafts that are very profitable, such as turning Berean leather into heavy Berean leather, or crafting frostweave bolts. So I like to keep them. But every once in a while, like when this happens, I just buy Berean leather instead. And I have to do that manually at the end, but that's life. So that's the shopping, and then you need to mail your materials over to whatever your crafter is, and then on your crafter you want to open up your professional window, and you're going to click this craft next button, which is going to craft stuff that is in this crafting queue right here. And then once you've done everything, mail them back to whatever your bank alt is. I like to have one character that's sitting right here. This is my poster character, my auction house character. So this is where I do all my purchases and all my auctioning. And then I have a crafting professional on this guy, but I don't use that for anything, because for this challenge I just wanted to have one character worth of crafting professions. So I do send all the materials over to my warlock, log over, craft all the stuff in the queue, send all the items back, and then we log on here and we post them to the auction house by just using a very normal Trade Skill Master auction scan. So now I'm swapping back to my other profile. I have all the items. This is my full TSM setup, so it has all the items. Right now we're just reposting some the leg armors. That's the only ones that hadn't been undercut. And we're up to 15,000 gold on the auction house, and I sold an ice scale leg armor for about 40 gold profit just recently. So for the auctioning operations, if you need one, you're just like, okay, I don't understand what kind of auctioning operation you want. Generally, you want something that looks like this, since we're selling crafted gear. This one is for anything you want to sell one of. You can change the duration to 12 hours depending on the market. I use 12 hours actually, so I think I'm using this one. And then the pricing settings, 120% crafting minimum price, which means you're looking for 20% profit. Yeah, we can see that there was a couple of items that didn't show that amount of profit, but everything else here is 20% profit or higher. So guys, that's it. That's the setup. That's it. Like, that's what I do. And the results, well, they sort of speak for themselves. I'm not going to spoil them entirely. We'll make a video when I'm done with the first 30 days. But if we're looking at the last week, for instance, we can see that I've got 15,000 gold in sales, and I have a profit of 7,000 gold, so about 1,000 gold a day on average in profit by just logging in once or twice a day doing this stuff. I think that's pretty freaking good. So yeah, steal my ideas, guys. Go do this, and you can get a token in no time.